I've kicked off 2026 falling in love with a game that, up until a few months ago, I hadn't really thought much about. StarRupture is the latest title from Jar, the developers of Green Hell. It's a survival crafting game that also mixes in factory building, set on a deadly and ever-changing planet. I set off from my landing pad to exploit this vast alien world by extracting its natural resources to send back to the corporations at home. These corporations in return provide me with upgrades so that I can send them even more resources. I'll be upfront that I'm not really one for the survival game genre, but if you add in conveyor belts that do all the laborious mining for me, then apparently I'm in. I've tried a lot of different games in the survival genre, and really the only two that have kept me fully hooked are The Forest and V Rising. And even then, I can't say I spend much time on the base building aspect of those games. I sort of just plop things down wherever so that I can get access to the upgrades they provide. But with StarRupture, well, you'd think I'd been base building my entire life. While my buddy in co-op is off running around the world shooting aliens and exploring new locations, I'm back at the home base working to make it an organized resource processing machine. Tangled webs of rails transport ore from the ground to smelters, fabricators, furnaces, storage units, and eventually the orbital launchers that send my materials back to the corporations running my life. Seeing your chaotic production lines running smoothly is immensely satisfying in StarRupture. Just the act of getting everything organized and set up in an efficient way is fun, fast, and easy to do in the game. Building the rail lines to reach your different machinery feels like a constantly evolving puzzle project. When I found out how far I could make my rail lines run, I may have gotten a little crazy with it. As you unlock new and more complex items you need to send, you often have to tear down your beautiful creations to reposition them and add more paths for resources to follow to get to all the different machines you've set up. As someone who does not like constantly having to whack trees and rocks for resources in survival games, there's very little actual grind in StarRupture once you get things set up. Part of the reason the game has hooked me so quickly is that I'm not having to constantly chase down the same resources over and over again to make progress. The progression loop slows down as you really get going, but the initial hours of investment keep paying off at a steady rate, and the game has enough other things to do to keep from being monotonous. While you're harvesting resources and obtaining upgrades, you're also exploring the world of Arcadia to find additional resources, abandoned bases, underground caverns, and probably a lot more that I haven't even gotten to yet because I haven't unlocked the right gear. Even in early access, Arcadia is vast and full of varied locale to explore. By the way, can we not come up with more interesting names for worlds in video games? I swear, every space game has you going to an Arcadia. Lepkataris. There's a free one for you devs. Anyway, getting further in the world is tied to completing the objectives set by the corporations, so there's a really solid gameplay loop of exploring, discovering, harvesting, unlocking new gear, and then exploring further as you go. There's also alien wildlife, the vermin, to contend with, which remind me maybe a little too much of the aliens in Helldivers 2, but they squish just as satisfyingly, so it's fine for now. I haven't gotten far enough in the game to start fortifying my base for the waves of vermin that will eventually come to try to stop my exploitation of their world, but based on the available trailers and gameplay walkthroughs, that's something I still have to look forward to. Or not, because if they destroy my beautiful production lines, well, there will be one less species in the galaxy to worry about by the time I'm done with them. Which reminds me, the game is called StarRupture because as you're doing everything I've listed above, you have to keep an eye on the sky, as a star is going to rupture and eradicate every living thing on the surface of the planet. Thankfully, your base isn't wiped away every time this happens, and as long as you're inside your habitat, you're safe from being turned into dust. I won't spoil anything about what happens after the star ruptures, but I will give you the advice to get out there and explore soon after for some rare materials and other surprises. Even in its early access state, I'm having a hard time putting StarRupture down. The ease of crafting the bases and production lines is really appreciated, and I'm sure some players will want more customization and personalization for their bases, but as someone who's much more concerned about function over anything else, the quickness and snappiness of it all keeps it from ever feeling annoying or overwhelming. The main feedback I'd have for the creative team at Jar is that the world of Arcadia needs to feel more alive to really feel like an alien planet. Weather events, more fauna, more places of interest, better variation of enemies, bases to discover, etc. Their roadmap indicates that these are all planned features, so I'm excited to see how they continue to build out StarRupture, as the foundation they have is incredibly solid already. It's not often that I'd recommend a project in early access, as I'm typically the type of person that will patiently wait for it to be 1.0 before really sinking my teeth in, but I've already put over 15 hours into StarRupture, and I feel like I've hardly scratched the surface of what's there. I still have a ton of things to unlock, locations to explore, and more production rails to build. Even when I'm not playing, I'm thinking about how I can better optimize my base. I might have a problem now.